You've probably heard the phrase listen to your body with respect to movement before, but it might feel vague. So let's break it down. Imagine you're in a math class, and maybe me saying that is making you sweat right away. In this math class, you have just gotten down the basics of algebra, and you're now jumping into calculus. That might feel a little overwhelming. It'll probably just lead to frustration. Similarly, our nervous system needs to be prepared for whatever exercise we're doing. We need to be at the right level so that we can gain the benefits in strength, balance, flexibility, whatever it is that we're trying to get out of that exercise. It should be just a little bit harder than wherever we are right now so that it's within our reach. Pushing yourself too far in workouts can also lead to that calculus level frustration, excess soreness on following days, and can increase your risk of injury from doing exercise. Add into this that our bodies are different on any given day, and it requires specific attention to know what is within reach and helpful on that day. Fortunately, our bodies do communicate with us what is in reach. We just need to know how to understand those signs. Here are some ways you can think about movement to get in tune with what your body is asking for. First off, all stress is stress, including exercise. So before you even start, think about what's going on in your life overall and think about how you are feeling on a given day. And if you're feeling low energy, maybe sometimes you could use a little kick to get energized and get going. Maybe other days you could use a break or use something that is more calming and more restorative for your nervous system. On one of those days where you need to have something lower key, you could just do a warm up. You could go for a walk if that's accessible to you, or you could do something like mobility. Any of these are still going to be really helpful because they get your joints moving, they get your lymphatic system flowing, and that's really good for your immune system. As you're picking what you're going to do, if you feel anxiety or dread about doing a particular kind or intensity of exercise, that could be a sign that it's misaligned with what you need. And also, if you just don't like a certain type of exercise, see if there's something that you do enjoy. There are so many wonderful ways to move. All right, let's say that you've decided after that pre-check, I'm going to do some structured movement. During the warm up, you can use those warm up movements as an opportunity to do a body scan, check in and see, oh, my hips are feeling tight. I'll be a little bit gentler with anything that has to do with my hips and maybe start with an easier option just to let them have some more time to warm up. Or maybe, oof, my wrists are feeling really stiff. I'm going to avoid anything where I put pressure on my hands and I'm going to choose options that are all on my back so that I don't have to worry about that. Your warm up can be a guide to how you approach the rest of the workout based on how it feels. While you're exercising, look out for any sharp pinches or pangs. That's a good sign to stop that movement and pick a different option or limit your range of motion to avoid that pinch or pang sensation. Another thing to look for is feelings of apprehension or guarding in your muscles, which can be a little bit difficult to distinguish from feeling the work where you're supposed to. So this is more about the emotional feeling around it. Here's an example. If you've had shoulder dislocations in the past or you have unstable shoulder joints, reaching overhead could cause apprehension because that feels like a vulnerable position. And maybe that's your nervous system saying, that feels like too much for me right now. If that's the case for your joints, I would recommend working with a physical therapist so that you can work on what is that safe range of motion. But if you're working out by yourself and you don't have that guidance, avoiding those feelings of apprehension or guarding is the safest bet. Another thing to look for is feeling like you're out of control. This can come in with knees, especially. If your knees feel really wobbly doing a movement, you can reduce your range of motion so that you're working with a range that you can control your knees and the movement feels fluid. Or you can choose an option that's a little less dynamic. For example, instead of stepping out to do lunges, you can do something more like squats or things where your feet are staying in place, just so that you can move more carefully and deliberately and feel like you are under control as you're doing that exercise. More generalized signs that you can look for when you're working out: dizziness and lightheadedness. If you feel that, that's a good sign to sit down, stop exercising, and recover. If you feel thirst, get a sip of water. If you feel hunger pangs, pause the workout, go get a snack. And once that food has settled enough to start working out again, you can resume the workout, but make sure that you're warmed up enough to do so safely. Okay, enough of that doom and gloom stuff. What are some positive signs that your body can send you about exercise? You could feel energized or an improved mood. Awesome. You could feel more openness in your joints. You could feel like your movements are getting more fluid or you're getting better control over those movements. You could also feel like your muscles are getting tired, but not so tired that you can't do the movements with good form. In the absence of another recommendation, I would say go for a medium level of difficulty by the end of a certain set of exercises. What that means is that I could definitely do more repetitions of this exercise. I could do this again multiple times with this good form. And that means that you're not pushing yourself to the edge of control, but you're still getting the benefit of working your muscles just past where they were before. Afterward, as you're learning how to calibrate your system and figure out the right exercise intensity for you, you could feel a little sore in the following days, but you shouldn't feel so sore that you can't loosen up and move and do your daily activities. You could also feel tired, but you shouldn't feel so tired that you have a loss of coordination, or again, you can't do your daily activities. You definitely should not feel like your mood is getting worse for exercising. That's a great sign that you've either done too much or maybe you picked an exercise type that just isn't a good fit for you, and there's something else out there for you. Exercise can be challenging, but it should be the kind of challenge that adds to your life. Maybe that math class analogy isn't your thing, so just think of a time when you accomplished something that was difficult but not out of reach, something where you had to stretch yourself just a little bit to achieve it. That's the kind of balance that we're looking for in exercise, and I hope you can find that balance. If you want a variety of follow along workout videos at different intensities designed to support this quest, check out the other videos on this channel. And remember, every option is valid, just like you.